This is the brand new Kia Optima, and it's Kia's answer to big, comfortable, luxurious German saloon cars. This particular car that we're in is the Optima GT Line S, and it's the absolute top of the range model, and it's got a 1.7 litre turbo diesel engine with 139 horsepower and 250 foot-pounds of torque, and a 7-speed double clutch gearbox. It's also got loads of other things that the car below it, the 3, doesn't have, like a panoramic roof, heated and cooled seats, although you do get heated seats but you don't get the cooling, and it's got a few other things around it that you don't get on the model below. So let's start with the looks first of all, and I think this is a very, very good looking car. I still can't believe, whenever I see a new Kia, that it's the same company that made some of the cars they did about 10 years ago. I mean, one look at the first generation Optima and you'll see where I'm coming from. Inside as well, it's really, really nice. It feels very, very solid and very well put together. And as I said, because it's the GT Line S, the top of the range, the absolute pinnacle of this particular car, you get things that you don't get on the level 3. And I kid you not when I say that the roof liner on this car is the softest roof liner I have ever encountered. Softer than a Rolls Royce, I would say. The diesel engine is a 1.7 turbo diesel, and it's alright, it's nothing special, but it's very good at what it's been built for. It's very smooth, very quiet when you're on the motorway, and it's got loads of torque low down. 0 to 60 takes 10.6 seconds, and the top speed is 126 miles an hour. So again, nothing special, but it's very, very easy and very quiet, just, yeah, quite refined engine. Just doesn't sound very nice the more you rev it. Then there's the gearbox. 7-speed double clutch gearbox, and double clutch gearboxes have this reputation of being, super fast, and the shifts on this gearbox are really, really quick. But there are times that, as an automatic gearbox, it doesn't quite know what gear it wants to go into, so once it's gone into 6th gear at about 29 miles an hour, which doesn't sound quite right for me. Like, if you were in a manual car, would you go into 6th gear at 29 miles an hour? I don't think you would. But yeah, there are other times when it just doesn't feel like it knows what gear it should be in. But a bigger problem for me is, although the time between pulling a paddle and actually getting a new gear is quite quick, there are times when you're braking and you're going down through the gears that it just doesn't feel like it's engaging the gear, when you pull the paddle. It's almost as if it slots it into neutral and then engages the next gear rather than having it ready. Now, why could that be an issue? Basically, if I'm braking for a corner and it feels like it's slotting into neutral, I'm not getting consistent engine braking. Sometimes I'm getting it and sometimes I'm not. So it makes it really difficult actually to brake smoothly. And also the brake pedal itself doesn't give very much information at all. It doesn't feel very consistent. And it just makes braking in this car quite difficult, quite tricky to be smooth and just come to a stop gently. I kind of find myself either braking too much or braking too little, and then having to, basically deal with whatever's just happened. It's just not very confidence inspiring. The steering is okay. It's very light at low speeds, and actually that was the first thing I noticed when I got in this car and drove it for the first time, was just how light the steering was at low speed. The more speed you have, the heavier it gets, but it just feels a little bit unnatural. When you're turning into a corner, the weighting just feels slightly unnatural. Now, in GT Line S spec, this car costs £29,395, which is an awful lot of money, but then again, you get an awful lot of car. But the level 3 car is £4,500 less, and there isn't a huge difference in spec. There are a few subtle differences, and probably the thing that I would miss most would be the panoramic roof. But for me, would I spend an extra £4,500 to have this car when I could get almost the same, still with a double clutch gearbox and the 1.7 diesel engine, for £4,500 less? I'd probably get the level 3 car. What I'd be interested in trying now would be the manual, because again, you can have exactly the same car but save yourself £1,500. So in total, you could save about £6,000 if you went for the level 3 with a manual, as opposed to this GT Line S spec. And I wonder as well whether it would just be more fun.